รายการต่อไปนี้เป็นรายการทั่วไปสามารถรับชมได้ทุกวัย
สนับสนุนโดย AIS ใช้ชีวิตได้มากกว่า
ไทม์ไลน์สุทธิชัยอยู่วันนี้เป็นเรื่องที่ผมเชื่อว่าคนไทยทุกคนสนใจครับเพราะว่าเป็นเรื่องเกี่ยวกับเขาพระวิหารหนังสือเล่มนี้เป็นหนังสือที่ออกใหม่เป็นหนังสือที่คนเขียนบอกว่าน่าที่จะมีข้อมูลครบถ้วนที่สุดเล่มหนึ่งเกี่ยวข้องกับเรื่องเขาพระวิหารโดยเฉพาะกรณีความขัดแย้งระหว่างไทยกับกัมพูชาตั้งแต่ขึ้นศาลโลกครั้งแรกมาจนถึงครั้งหลังนี้และมีเอกสารที่ทางการสหรัฐนี่ปล่อยออกมาหลังจากที่เป็นเอกสารลับทางราชการมายาวนานคุณจอห์นเบอร์เจอร์สคนเขียนคนนี้บอกว่าได้ข้อมูลใหม่หลายเรื่องที่คนไทยคนกัมพูชาหรือคนทั่วโลกที่ติดตามเรื่องเขาพระวิหารอาจจะไม่เคยได้ยินไม่เคยได้เห็นจอห์นเบอร์เจอร์สเป็นนักหนังสือพิมพ์ครับเคยทำงานกับเนชั่นเริ่มต้นใหม่ๆเมื่อ40กว่าปีก่อนหลังจากนั้นคุณจอห์นเบอร์เจอร์สก็ไปเป็นนักข่าวให้กับ Washington Post และมีความสนใจในเรื่องราวของไทยกัมพูชาอย่างลึกซึ้งหนังสือเล่มนี้เป็นเล่มที่3ที่คุณจอห์นได้เขียนขึ้นมาชื่อ Temple in the Clouds วัดนี้อยู่ในเมฆหมอกที่น่าที่จะค้นหาและค้นคว้าวันนี้ผมจะคุยกับจอห์นเบอร์เจอร์สครับซึ่งมาเมืองไทยเพื่อที่จะมาบอกกล่าวว่าหนังสือเล่มนี้น่าสนใจอย่างไร Hi John, thank you for joining the program today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Why did you decide to write this book in the first place?
Well, I first went to the temple in 1974.
Yes.
And like almost everyone who visits this place, I was enchanted. You're standing there in the presence of great civilization, great religious architecture, and you're at the top of a mountain that has a view for maybe 100 kilometers. So I was enchanted, like most everyone, and I returned in 2010 at a time when the current dispute between Thailand and Cambodia was heating up again.
Right.
And it occurred to me that this was a fabulous subject for a book. I've often been surprised at how little Cambodians and Thais know about each other's history.
That's true, yeah.
And I felt that by writing a book that brought all the facts together as we know them, and writing it in a nice sort of objective tone about this subject that is often very emotional, that maybe that would serve some purpose in
at least the
calming
facts,
down things.
At least you're trying to get the facts right.
That's right.
And are you saying you are quite objective over the issue?
I've tried
not taking sides between Thailand and Cambodia?
I have not taken sides. I try just to put the facts out there.
Well, I see this picture is quite interesting because I think very few people have seen it. This the team of lawyers on the Cambodian side.
Right.
These are from the Thai side, and Momrachong Seni Pramod.
That's right.
He's the leader of the Thai team. And of course, we all know what happened there. And then, of course, the ICJ verdict in the recent movement has put Thailand in not a very favorable position. And the Thai people still look at Khao Pravihan, or as you say in Cambodia, Khao Preah Vihear.
Preah Vihear.
Yes. And well, a mixture of feelings, you know, perhaps pride, perhaps anger, perhaps disappointment, but still, you know, trying to come to peace with history. What is the most interesting new things that you have found in this book?
Well, I would say this. The two countries are divided, but the emotion in both countries is driven by the same kind of historical dynamic.
Right.
On the Cambodian side, Cambodia, when they were the Khmer Empire, the civilization that built Angkor, they controlled almost all of mainland Southeast Asia.
Yes.
And then in subsequent centuries, they were compressed down to become the much smaller country of Cambodia.
Right.
By the Thais and by the Vietnamese. And so the Cambodians feel that they really have to watch out for for their territorial integrity, even today. But on the Thai side, 100 years ago, you had the same dynamic. Thailand, that is Siam, had taken its place in Southeast Asia as a major regional power. It felt that this was the natural role that it played in the region. And then a big country comes along and starts compressing Thailand. That is France, the French colonial power.
Yeah.
So on both sides of the border, you have this similar dynamic in play. I thought that was quite interesting.
Strong feelings on both sides.
Yeah. I would say in Cambodia, stronger, in that everybody in Cambodia knows about this temple and cares about it and wants to defend it.
Yes.
And on the Thai side, a lot of people know, but the emotions are not so strong. There are many people who don't really have an opinion one way or another as to what should happen to this temple.
So what is the conclusion of your book on this issue?
The conclusion of the book, that's a tough one.
Do you have a conclusion?
Well, my conclusion, my hope is that we are now in a position where going forward we can look for some kind of long-term settlement. This is a very tragic outcome that this place that is a great symbol of human civilization has become a conflict zone. If you go there now, there are paramilitary police from both sides. There's barbed wire. There's no passage. It's a conflict zone, and that's wrong for a place like this. And we are in a position now where there's been peace at the temple for 4 years.
Yes.
The two governments are getting more friendly.
Yes.
There's more cooperation going on between Phnom Penh and Bangkok. There is no overt tension over this issue, but it's still such a hot potato that essentially the issue has been put on hold.
Right.
But going forward, there have been a number of proposals on solving this problem. One of them is joint history textbooks.
Right.
In which Thais and Cambodians would grow up knowing something about their common history. I think they tend to see themselves as very separate. Outsiders tend to see the similarities between the two cultures.
You think there are more similarities than differences?
I think there are a lot of similarities. There are obviously linguistic similarities.
Sure.
Both languages are very heavily influenced by Sanskrit.
Yes.
Thai Wats and Thai and Cambodian Wats look essentially the same. Both countries are sort of Hindu-influenced civilizations. And it's a shame that the differences are the things that are emphasized.
If you put the academics from Thai and Cambodian sides together, you think they will be able to agree on a common textbook on Khao Phraya Vihear?
I think it would take a lot of negotiation.
Yes.
But maybe they can read this book here.
Right.
And I think this book lays out the real true history of the place to the extent I've been able to verify and document it. And starting from ancient times, going all the way forward to present
The
times.
version that you have here, would it offend both sides or would it please both sides?
Well, I think there's something for both sides.
Okay, something for both sides?
Something for both sides that they would
You have
like
access
seeing,
to the declassified information.
Yes.
From the American side.
Yes.
What are some of the new things that you have found?
Well, the cable traffic, the memos that the U.S. embassies in Phnom Penh and Bangkok were writing back to Washington were declassified recently, and you can go into the U.S. National Archives in Washington, outside Washington, and read them. And they show how the U.S. was trying to mediate. The U.S. did not want this dispute to boil over, this dispute between Cambodia and Thailand. They viewed it as a distraction. They wanted to have peace between Thailand and Cambodia. They hoped that Sihanouk, Prince Sihanouk, who was the leader of Cambodia at the time, would be friendly and would cooperate in the larger U.S. objectives in Indochina.
At that time, what was happening in Indochina?
Well, the U.S. Vietnam was divided into North and South, and the U.S. role in the South was getting bigger and bigger with advisors and military aid.
The Vietnam War was starting.
It was starting. It was still low level.
So the Americans didn't want any trouble between Thailand and Cambodia.
That's right. And there were also constant crises and conflicts in Laos between communist, neutral, and pro-Western factions.
Sure.
So the American side wanted Thailand and Cambodia to be friendly.
Yes.
And so the Americans were trying to arrange what they called press truces.
Press truces.
In which the media, the newspapers and radio in Thailand and Cambodia would agree not to attack and insult the other side, which would hopefully allow there to be some kind of reconciliation
Would have been
between the two
difficult
countries.
because both sides, the media on both sides were quite aggressive.
That's right.
About the issue.
Ultimately, it was not successful.
No.
And ultimately, the Thai side was occupying the temple at the time and saying that it was Thai territory. And in 1959, the Cambodians brought a suit in the ICJ,
Yes.
asking the ICJ to declare that this was, in fact, Cambodian territory. It's interesting that the two embassies at the time took the positions of their host governments.
Really?
สนับสนุนโดย AIS ใช้ชีวิตได้มากกว่า
The media on both sides were quite aggressive.
That's right.
About the issue.
Ultimately, it was not successful.
No.
And ultimately, the Thai side was occupying the temple at the time and saying that it was Thai territory. And in 1959, the Cambodians brought a suit in the ICJ,
Yes.
asking the ICJ to declare that this was, in fact, Cambodian territory. So it's interesting that the two embassies at the time took the positions of their host governments.
Really?
When
The American embassy in Bangkok took the Thai side?
Well, it
The
took
American
the Thai side.
embassy in Phnom Penh took the Cambodian side.
That's right, and I'll tell you how. The Thais did not want this case to go to the ICJ.
No, right.
They wanted to set it bilaterally.
Right.
The Cambodians did want it.
Yes.
The embassy in Bangkok, the American embassy in Bangkok, sent a cable to Washington saying, we think an ICJ case would just escalate a relatively minor dispute into a major international conflict.
Okay.
And the Cambodian, the U.S. embassy in Phnom Penh cables to Washington saying, we think that an ICJ case would put the issue on hold for a while and then give diplomatic cover to whichever side loses. You know, whichever side loses would have to say we can't. It's out of our hands. We have to obey the court's decision.
Face saving.
Face saving. Yes. So both embassies were reflecting the view of the local government.
Which is what diplomats should do, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But Dean Acheson was also quite a figure, an American on the Cambodian side of the panel of lawyers.
That's right. Dean Acheson had been Secretary of State from 1949 to 53,
Yes.
and then became a private lawyer again. And in 1960, I believe, was hired by the Cambodians to represent them
Yes.
at the ICJ.
Right.
And this made the Thai government furious
Right.
in that they
That's
believed...
him, right? That's him in the picture,
That's
right?
him
Very
right
prominent
there in the
figure
middle.
there,
Yes,
right?
yes. The Thai government was convinced that this reflected American support for the Cambodian side of the case. And in Washington, the U.S. kept saying Mr. Acheson's presence on the Cambodian team in no way signifies a U.S. support for the Cambodian side. He's a private lawyer. He can represent whoever he wants.
But the Thai side wasn't convinced.
The Thai side was not convinced. But indeed, in this profession, lawyers often represent the other side. So Dean Acheson's very first case,
Yeah.
he represented Norway against the United States.
He did.
Yeah. That was in the 1920s. So international law was his specialty.
So he didn't feel that he was coming under pressure from his own government or that he might risk being misunderstood by the Thai side.
Well, he actually, before he accepted, he went to the U.S. government and said, would it cause any problems with the U.S. government if I accept this? And apparently they said no. So he accepted. And I believe that the U.S. government was, in fact, trying to be neutral, and they just wanted this dispute to go away.
In the book, who do you blame for the original cause of the conflict? Because a lot of Thais would say the French left behind this legacy, and this is why we had this problem. If the French had not done this, then we would have been saved.
Well, I see it goes back further than the French.
Really?
Yes. To what I mentioned earlier, that Cambodia used to be a huge
That's right.
empire that controlled large portions of Thailand. If you go around northeast Thailand, you go to Lopburi, you see Khmer temples left from this period. And then over the centuries, Siam appeared on the scene and began expanding and shrinking Cambodia. And the Cambodians see this temple as the sort of present-day flashpoint of that conflict. That they believe that this is the place where we have to defend against Thailand. And many Cambodians believe, I think incorrectly, that the Thai government wants to take this temple again. And I see no evidence of that.
No.
That the Thai government accepts the ICJ decision of 1962, and the current dispute is about the land around the temple. But you're right, the Thai position is that in the late 19th century, the French came along and bullied Thailand and forced Thailand to give up land that had been in its possession for decades and in some cases centuries in Laos and Cambodia. And this was basically unfair. As you know, in 1941, Siam invaded and took back the 3 provinces of Western Cambodia. But in the ICJ case, the Thai side was convinced that this was a French border. And this was a lot of their argument said that the famous 1907 map that was the key piece of evidence in the case.
The map.
That it was a French map. And represented French colonial notions of where the border should be, and therefore it was illegitimate.
And do you agree with that theory?
Well, this was a map that was it's a long entangled history, but early in the 20th century, France forced Thailand to give back various parts of Cambodia and Laos.
Yep.
And a treaty was signed in 1904 saying that the border would be the watershed line of the Dang Rek Mountains.
Yes.
There was a joint border commission that surveyed the border. And after that work, with Siamese acceptance, the French drafted a map. The idea was that the French were more advanced in cartography techniques.
Right.
So the French drafted the map and then presented copies of this map to Thailand as the official work of the Border Commission. And Thailand accepted these maps. And the map showed Preah Vihear as being just on the Thai side, on the Cambodian side of the border. just literally a few hundred meters only. And for a long time, nobody paid much attention to this. But eventually, the ICJ's decision hinged on that map.
Right. So the map was the one that decided.
The map was the key piece of evidence.
But what about the Thai argument?
The Thai argument was that the map was illegitimate and wrong.
Right.
Because the line was supposed to be the watershed line.
Right.
And Preah Vihear clearly was on the north side of the watershed, which would place it in Thailand.
Thai side, yes.
In the Thai side.
Yes.
And that the treaty should be more important than a map. The treaty is the governing document.
Right.
Eventually, the ICJ said it doesn't matter where the watershed line is. What matters is that Thailand was given this map in 1907 and then was silent.
No objection.
No
from
objection.
The Thai side.
No objection from the Thai side. In the 1920s and 30s, treaties of friendship were negotiated, and Thailand did not bring up this issue. There is no sort of diplomatic paper trail of the Thais objecting to this. And so ultimately, the ICJ said, you, Thailand, accepted, in effect, you accepted this map by remaining silent, by not speaking up earlier.
So why should Thai people and Cambodian people read the book?
Well, I think this is a very emotional issue, and what I've tried to do is bring as many facts as possible to the argument and put them in one place. And everybody has heard of this temple, but I think there's a lot of new information in this book that sort of brings alive this very long and very tragic dispute that should be settled in some way.
And it will continue to be an issue if it's not settled in some way.
If it's not settled. At present, the Cambodians are choosing to be patient. They're not pressing the Thais to say the ICJ has issued this ruling. We need to have some discussion. They're just letting it go, and from their point of view, there is access to the temple. 100,000 people per year are going, so it's not a big priority to them.
Now, Thai side is not pushing it either.
No, there's silence.
Yeah, on both sides.
Yes, silence on both sides.
นี่เป็นข้อมูลใหม่ที่จอห์นบอกครับว่าน่าสนใจมากเพราะว่าคนไทยคนกัมพูชาหรือคนทั่วโลกที่รู้จักเขาพระวิหารเนี่ยควรจะอ่านเพราะว่าเป็นข้อมูลที่น่าจะทำให้ข้อสงสัยหรือความไม่แน่ชัดบางประการเนี่ยมีความกระจ่างแจ้งมากยิ่งขึ้นแน่นอนหนังสือเล่มนี้จะไม่สรุปว่าใครถูกใครผิดแต่ว่าจะเอาข้อเท็จจริงประวัติศาสตร์ข้อเท็จจริงล่าสุดและข้อมูลที่ได้จากแฟ้มที่เคยเป็นราชการลับของกระทรวงต่างประเทศสหรัฐนั้นมา เปิดเผยและมาอธิบายถึงกรณีเขาพระวิหารน่าสนใจครับและผมก็เชื่อว่าท่านที่ต้องการที่จะรู้ว่าถ้าเรานั่งห่างออกไปจากความรู้สึกของความเป็นคนไทยหรือกัมพูชาและอยากจะรู้จริงๆว่ามองอย่างเป็นธรรมมองอย่างเป็นกลางมองอย่างเอาข้อเท็จจริงมาพิจารณานั้นจะเป็นอย่างไรกันแน่หนังสือเล่มนี้บอกว่าจะทำหน้าที่เช่นนั้นครับ Thank you John for being with us and I'm sure it would create a lot of interest in Thailand and I hope in Cambodia and around the world people who know Cambodia know Khao Phra Vihear and know Thailand would certainly be interested in all the new information you have managed to get for them.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.